On this week's episode of Did Y'all See, we're talking about the hateration Leslie Jones is receiving, the domestic dispute between Tamar and Vince, and whether or not we should swear off black men. Get into all this tea on Did Y'all See. Welcome to another episode of Did Y'all See. We have a lot to discuss today, so I know you're ready. So did y'all see, first off, Leslie Jones, she just cannot catch a break. You know, first there was the Twitter harassment, and then someone hacked into her website and posted pictures of Harambe, and then also nude photos of Jones herself. So what do you guys think this is really about at this point?
Clearly her race. Like, and that, you know, I wrote the story about it yesterday, and somebody was asking, you know, I mean, basically trying to imply that, like, I must be dark skinned and, like, I'm trying to make this like a colorism issue. She was like, I'm light skinned and and people tell me, like, maybe sometimes I just don't get it. I'm like, I'm light skinned too, and I still know when something is about race and colorism. Like, you never hear a white woman being compared to an ape. That right there tells you what this is about.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been consistent. Like, that's always the comment she keeps getting. That's racism all day, you know? And I just really feel for her because I can't even imagine how that weighs on her. Like, I was telling you or Victoria, like, how last week somebody in the comment section had called me like a fat slob and a cunt. And I was like, damn. I was just like, it's so vicious.
Yes.
That, like, I was able to dismiss it because it was so vicious. But at the same time, like, when all that keeps coming at you on a regular basis, it's hard to dismiss that. Like, you know the person is trash. You are trash. Whoever said that. But, you know, all the time for that to be happening, and for her to just be getting her big break and, like, it's so overshadowed by all this.
I really thought this all came about because she's in Ghostbusters and because of the designer dressing. I think that's when it really started to get really rampant. And it's even from black people themselves. So you know what I mean? So it's like, you can't even, it is a race thing, but it's like, it's a lot of, I know in our comments, it's real nasty.
Right.
It gets real trolls.
Okay, don't judge, but I looked up Leslie Jones nude pics. I don't know, I just, wanted to see if they were still there, and people had, like, gifs of, like, Leslie Jones nude pics leaked. Oh gosh, I don't want to see that. Like, the idea of her being sexy and nude, and I think Viola said it, like, it was hard for me to get these roles to be portrayed as sexy because of how I look. So it just made me think, like, damn, like, black women, dark black women, and dark black women who don't have that feminine appeal, we still aren't even seen, or they still aren't even seen as sexy as women, as feminine, as a human quality.
Right.
So
Exactly, because somebody, else in the comments tried to say, like, well, other celebrities had their, pictures leaked, and it wasn't the same. That was
with
about,
the gorilla
I want to see what they
yeah.
look like naked. This is just full on trying to embarrass her.
I feel like Leslie Jones is the type of person who's going to, like, win regardless. I feel like, she has the SNL gig after all these years of grinding and pushing. She had Ghostbusters. She's in commercials. And then, just her tweets, just her words were able to get her a trip to Rio to commentate for the Olympics. So I feel like I really hope that she finds some place to, like, purge herself from all this because she really has something to offer the world. And I really feel like she's so talented and she's worked so hard for so long to get here. And I really hope that she doesn't let this discourage her and take her out the game because she really has so much to give. So did y'all see that Tamar and Vince, we've been hearing little whispers, and I feel like people have been saying things about there being domestic violence issues between them for a while now. But now a little bit of facts are seeping into the story. So we were all hearing that, he bit her finger in public. And then today I just found that TMZ had the audio of the 911 call, not from Tamar, but from someone at the Ritz-Carlton who called and said, she's saying he bit her finger and he left the scene in a cab. So what do you guys think about this madness?
We talked about Tamar with the issues with the reels, so we kind of, I don't know, I feel like we all know that she's, like, a bit of dramatic, but that's not an excuse for domestic violence. It just seems like they live this fabulous life and she's so, like, lush, and then behind the scenes you don't know what's going on. My concern is mostly for the kid, for Logan. It's like your parent, if that happened in front of them or in front of him, that's so traumatic. Like, your dad bit your mom's finger, or even if anything else has happened. And then her sisters and her mom, like, are they really going to let that happen? And she's been in domestic violence relationships before. She talked about it on the reel. So it's like, she talked and she was crying, and it seemed like it still affected her. So for her to go through this again, it's kind of like, you know, not shame on you, but like what healing does she need to do to find someone that's not going to treat her like that? And I mean, I'm not saying she's a victim, and she's a victim in the sense of like she's not the one contributing to the damage, but I'm just shocked.
Biting somebody's finger, like to me, it's just straight savage. Like, I know of 3 people who've done that: Chris Brown, Vince, and Mike Tyson. So it's what takes you to the point of biting some? You know, that just is like, what?
Yeah.
Use your words. Like, what are you doing? So,
Exactly. Or walk away.
Yeah. Or
exactly.
Yeah.
And then to get in the cab, like all of that is just, this is your wife and the mother of your child. You know, so what are you on right now? And
Bath salt.
yeah.
Bath salt.
Because what?
Leave, like you said, just leave. Because Tamar, I think, would take me all the way out.
Yeah, she's
of
a lot.
everything. I would just have to go. Like, I know how to dismiss myself.
And that's what he would do on the show. Often he would just get up and walk away. So I don't understand. And I always thought, I thought Vince was like nice enough, but I would just realize that some of the things he would say to her were intentionally to cut her down. And she was always, you know, she does a lot of this, but she would never attack him directly. You know what I'm saying? It was never like an attack on his character or his personality. And when he would come back at her, it was always an attack on her.
I'm not surprised because on the show, when Gabe and Trina were going through their back and forth situation, Gabe actually did come out and say that there has been domestic issues between Tamar and Vince.
He said that?
Yeah, because everyone knows that Tamar puts on for the city, for the country, for the world. You know, and my friend, one of my close friends, said it best. Like, those who are the most loud, people who have it, everything is perfect, and my man is this and my man is that. Your man ain't shit. So, and I feel like because she talks so much, and then on Tamar and Vince, she's always coming at him, and he's always leaving, and that's on camera. He's leaving because we are on camera. We don't know what happens after the cameras go, and I'm not saying. I think it's one of those situations where they're both very volatile to each other.
I know she cuts up, but I don't know what she could do to make that.
My mom said that she was probably going like this, and then maybe he's like
Probably.
A hand, a block,
yeah.
biting.
Yeah.
But
We're done. Like, you bite me, that's it. That's it. So for this week's edition of What You Watching, we're talking about my show, Married at First Sight. Now, I know this season there are not any black couples on there, but there are 2 Latinas, so we're just gonna have to roll with it. Plus, the storylines this season are so much more interesting than they have been in the past. 2 of the couples have great chemistry, more chemistry than we've ever seen before, and one of the couples is a little bit straggly this season, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. They probably won't. So the premise of Married at First Sight, if you've never watched the show, is that you basically meet this person and you marry them the same day you meet them. And then you have 90 days to determine whether or not you're gonna stay with the marriage and make it work out. Stay married. So it's been successful for maybe like 1 or 2 couples in the past, but the whole concept is interesting to see what people argue about. Basically the same things that people who've known each other for 20 years argue about. It's just different levels of it. Basically communication issues, not feeling wanted or needed, the same things that we all go through. So the show is fascinating, and right now I'm really interested in what's going on with Heather and Derek because there's a lot of like insecurity issues. So if you watch the show, let us know what you think about it in the comment section below. So, did y'all see, I know you did, we had an article that did really well for the site, and the title of the piece was, I would be a masochist if I dated another black man. This black woman has been basically berated by other black men for her black features, you know, too dark, nose and lips too wide. So she's just like, I'm just done with them. And so the question is, like, what, if you had those same experiences, would you too be done with black men? Like, what would it take for you to be like, you know what? Nah.
I read the article, and I think she was like 40 or something.
Exactly.
Like, she's like older, so she's probably had like a long career of dating, but like path of dating like bad men. I think that her saying being a masochist for dating black men is a bit drastic, because dating in general is rough. Like, if you're taking a risk, meeting someone new, letting them in your life and maybe your body, and all these things happen, it's like you have to take that risk if you want to fall in love or, you know, get in a relationship. So I don't know, I just feel like black men are tough, and being black woman is tough, but you can't just like shut down all black men. Too much?
I'd be done.
You be done?
I'd be done. I'm
Why?
close to being done myself. No, I'm kidding. I'd be done. I would be done because, as you said, being 40 and having to go through that,
Well, that's
because the girl who wrote the piece, our coworker, said, this was not her first time. She was saying, like, the day prior or a couple days prior, another guy said she was too dark. So she was just like, come on, y'all. And he was like Caribbean, like a dark-skinned Caribbean. So she was like,
They look black like tar and want to tell people, oh, I don't like you. How?
and that's how she was like, we could be brother and sister. And you got the nerve to tell me like my features, something's wrong with my features. And so obviously, you can't have those blanket statements.
Yeah.
I can't say I wouldn't step back for a second. I'd be like, I can't do this. Because I think also her other point was like, even outside of the dating, we do so much for y'all, and for you to still have these simple ass ideals of beauty and not see it, because the writer Danielle had asked her, do you think that we're too hard on men? Because she was like, maybe it's really just about that whole thing that we're all angry and blah blah blah. And she was like, no, I think it's because we're too lenient. We fight for them in the streets, we do everything for them, and let them shit on us all day, and then we still invite them into our bed. So she's like, no. So I just feel her. I'm sure it's a period. Because I'm also saying I'm not gonna go from no black man to no white man, so I'm not trying to cross that line either. So I don't know what I would be doing, Right.
I'm kind of agree with Quindare a little bit more, just because when people say things, and this is easier said than done, and we're all working on this. But like when people say things, it's a reflection of them and not you. Yeah. If somebody tells you too dark, that's because they have a whole lot of issues they haven't unpacked, and it has nothing to do with you. And I would just get it from the table and leave. I wouldn't sit there and continue the date. I would complain about it. Y'all would hear about it, but I would just be like, okay, this is it. Thank you. Good night. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I feel that I would never say I'm giving up on black men, because I feel like I know how it feels when I hear black men say that about us. Like, oh, black women have this attitude, and black women don't know how to do this, and black women are too combative, and black women are too this, that. And so I feel like I'm never going to, I understand that black women do really too much for black men. We really do. Yeah. But at the same time, when the whole world is like waging war against us and our black bodies, I'm not going to participate in that. So I might take a step back. I might be open to other experiences and other people. I'm not going to actively look out for no white man either. I'm just going to be open to whatever and whoever is going to treat me correctly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Whoever that may be, whatever they may look like. Yeah. But I would never say I've sworn off of this type of my own people.
A lot of men are living in this like fantasy world, and they're bigging themselves up, and it's like you here, but you acting like you're here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So,
girl, and I bet you that dude who said that to her was ugly.
Guaranteed.
It's always them. Let me tell you something. When somebody know they got it, when a nigga know he is it, you don't have to deal with all of that. You may deal with other things, but you don't have to deal with all No. It'd be the people who you don't press your clothes, you don't wash your balls, you don't clean your shoes. People who you don't got your stuff together.
Right, and so you try to look for a woman to project some image of you that you can never attain.
You an assistant, trying to be a rapper.
Right, you want to be upgraded.
Yes. Because you ain't got it. Hello? So what would you do if you were in the situation black men kept putting you down? Would you be done with black men? Would you swear off of them? Let us know in the comment section below. So for this week's Cold Tea, we're going to talk about Omarion and April, all of us. But Lauren has quite a bit to say, so we're just going to let her have it. So Lauren, go ahead and say it with your chest.
So this week, like Veronica said, we found out the real reason why Omarion broke up with April. And if you read Veronica's piece, you will see that it was a poor-ass excuse of, I need space. You didn't need space when you were on top of her, making the second baby, who was recently born, about a few months ago. And, at times, many different people, there's a lot going on in their lives. They don't know how to navigate things. But I really am tired of men always feeling the need to excuse themselves when things get a little too stressful. Because if a woman was to leave them at any point in their lives, any type of woman, their mother, their girlfriend, their wife, whoever, they will be on their deathbed, literally saying, so-and-so left me when I was in the 6th grade. Period lunch. Like, y'all need to really get it together. This is the thing. If you guys feel like you could wear masculinity or this bravado on your sleeves and I'm this dude and I'm that dude, no, you're not. Because if you're that emotionally incompetent, then you don't need to be participating in relationships, dating,
Ooh.
or life. That's what I have to say.
Thank you for watching this episode of Did Y'all See? As always, be sure to let us know what you think in the comment section below, but be nice. And for more videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/MadameNoire. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Did Y'all See? We want to let y'all know that the conversations continue on our Instagram page at MadameNoire.com, spelled out, and on our Facebook page. Every day at noon, we do lunchtime chats. So be sure to hit us up there. And when you're talking about us, hashtag Did Y'all See?